Welcome to the Outer Realm with MicheleDerocher and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday night segment of The Outer Realm. We're broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network 105.3 FM from the Gulf Coast, 107.7 FM from beautiful New Orleans. We're fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee, who have been a part of our journey since the very beginning. So thank you. Thank you. We appreciate you so very much, Folgers. Also, thank you to Justin Snicker, a.k.a. Dr. Sick, the Sonic Surgeon, for his contribution of his voice, his music, for his intro that you just heard. His voice, his song. So thank you, thank you. Big thank you to Steve McGinnis. Yahoo! Basically the artist behind the banners and logos here at the show. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram. Also specializes in the horror genre, but does great commission pieces. A little tongue-tied tonight, so apologies. My God.
It's okay.
Yeah, right. Been a day, been a week. That's all I got to say. But I know. We're going to have some fun tonight. You know, it's always a lot of fun when we do these, and I'm glad we get an extra one in because we have another one at the end of the month, just saying. So and we're keeping it. So I know. We just have a lot of fun, and we're going to talk about some really interesting things. I've got some things kind of put aside. I'm sure Amelia does too. And we're
not really.
Yeah,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That's all right. You roll off whatever.
I follow the lead.
I know, right? There we go. So, yeah. So anyway, when don't you have fun? Well, I could pretty much give you all kinds of when I don't, but
when we're not here.
I know. Yeah, I know.
This is date night. You guys don't understand.
I know. You have your headphones on. It's quiet. Then bam, music comes on. You are correct.
The music comes up a little loud, yeah, but that's the recording, and
yeah,
we like it that way.
I know. Gosh, well, this is great. Look at everybody. Oh,
yeah. Hello, everybody.
Well, we're glad that you're here.
Yes.
Hopefully you'll have a little bit of fun with us. So welcome, welcome.
We're free.
I know. Hoo-hoo.
Don't tell Folgers.
I know. So,
winter storm. Oh, yes. Colorado is closed from October to May.
Mm-hmm. I know. Hi,
Michelle. More pictures from Bobby in the snow, like snow, you know, the vistas from the mountain, everything, than I do in the summer. Like literally, there's so much snow there.
I know. I can't even think of it right now. Okay. I'm not ready. So.
Well, we don't get hit, knock on wood, until January, and it's really warm here right now.
Yeah,
funny
we
that
get a lot of snow. I'm
funny
grateful
that
where we're at. So grateful, really, really grateful.
So. Yeah, we don't want. I don't want to get into that.
Man,
you're not late at all, Ellen. We're just starting up.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
The S word. I love snow. I do. I love it from the inside of my house. You know, looking out.
Differ. Yeah, I don't like it anywhere.
I do. I like 4 seasons.
Yeah.
I really do enjoy
I'd be happy with 3.
I'd be happy to get rid of spring. Spring is so muggy and ugh.
Oh, I love
you know. And my hair is naturally wavy, like it's almost to a tight curl, and it just I hate the spring.
Spring is
and the shoes aren't very
glorious pretty. Summer. I'm happy with that. So
I love the fall. This is my favorite time of year.
Yeah, it is mine as well.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to get the show on the road. I'm glad.
weather.
I'm glad everybody is chiming
in too, Ellen.
So tonight, of course, we are on Roku. We are on Rumble. And for those of you on Rumble, I can see the comments. And I see that we've already got quite a few people in there, actually. And I can see that here as well.
I wonder why they named it Rumble.
And then we are on X as well. And people are chiming in over there. So that's fantastic.
Hello,
And we can
X.
also see your comments that will come up here in the chat room. So if you have questions or comments, put it out there and we'll be able to get you guys up and running. Yes, next week. I know.
Big one.
UAP hearings. I know. You are welcome to watch here, of course. It's a busier chat room, but I'll tell you what's going to be happening with Rumble, guys. Now, unless things change with the whole censorship thing, which it just might, because it looks like the new president is really going to be, I feel down. So maybe that'll become a thing of the past. But for right now, we're very limited to what we could say. Our guest last night had a lot to say, and unfortunately, some of that would be enough to get our channel flagged. So we had to put it in private mode, and I did put up the first episode for you guys just to catch up. The original last night's episode is on Rumble for those who want to go and catch it, and it's already like over 116 views, which isn't bad for considering it's just been a few hours. But with that being said, you're going to start seeing a little bit more uncensored stuff going only to Rumble, maybe to X. So you're not going to see it on YouTube at all. So if you want some of that stuff that's not censored, then you have to go over to Rumble. So go on over, show some love. We've only been throwing stuff up there for the last few months, and we're doing.
Yeah.
You're going to get things that you're just not going to see on YouTube, because believe it or not, we do have quite a bit that's in private mode on our YouTube channel. So,
and to give you perspective on that, I mean, they have shut down Candace Owens' account. They have shut down Jordan Peterson's account.
I know.
They don't care. They just pull. Yeah. You get one complaint or a tag word comes up and they shut it down. So
that's true.
That's how easy it is and how ridiculous it's been.
It's getting out of hand. So we decided to move to different platforms a little bit. So
I think they're taking it out of context because they're just taking the tag word. They're not listening to the segment. So they just know that the word was said, but not in what context.
No, exactly.
It's very frustrating.
No, exactly. Exactly.
X is the future. I agree.
Well, it is. And we're airing live there right now. And we're slowly moving about. We might even look at Substack or Patreon. Like there's going to be some changes coming unless, the whole censorship thing comes to an end. We love YouTube, for the most part. It's a great platform, but we're at that point where we are, the content and the time that our guests take, whether you agree with them, don't agree with them, whether you're interested, not interested, they take the time to come here. They have the right to speak their mind. And we want to make sure that, their voices are to be heard.
Absolutely. And today, X put out I don't even know what you call it anymore because you can't really call it a tweet, but they posted that they are Canada's #1 news source.
Crazy, isn't it? I know.
Eye-opening.
I know. There you go. Because it's we're allowed to have it, right? So anyway, with that being said, we're going to start with again the topic, love him or hate him. There's a big conspiracy that surrounds Donald Trump. And that is a book called The Last President. And it's interesting. It's very interesting. It was basically written by a man named Ingersoll Lockwood. And in 1888, he wrote a book called Baron Trump's, spelled a bit differently, but the real name really is Baron von Trump, if I'm not mistaken. But Baron Trump's marvelous underground journey, where a 10-year-old boy named Baron Trump, who has a mentor named Don, who's a rich man who lives on Fifth Avenue in New York City, he and Don traveled to Russia to find a portal to a magical underground world. Now, there's a lot of things in this book, such as, I don't want to fly, I guess, but the big event that happened, at the White House, that sort of got Don in some real issues. We'll leave it there because AI tags everything. So I'm going to be careful with that. But this is a really big deal because it's like, what the heck? And I want to tell you where it gets really interesting, by the way, is that did they have access to time travel? Well, let me tell you what. Let me tell you what. When Nikola Tesla died in 1943, a lot of his research disappeared. And one of the first people to enter the apartment to retrieve trunks of documents was Donald Trump's uncle, John G. Trump, who was a highly respected electrical engineer and physicist. So in theory, there were 80 trunks. John came back saying he was only able to find 30 and that there was nothing of significant value. So it's believed that he kept some of these trunks with all of this information.
You think?
Tesla maintained that he knew how to bend time, and he was also known to have helped on the Philadelphia project / experiment. So what we think back to the Philadelphia experiment, which went like horribly wrong, Nikola Tesla actually had something to do with this. So the event allegedly occurred in 1943, ironically, just before Tesla died. The main goal was to hide the USS Elbridge, which was a Navy destroyer-class vessel, and make it invisible to enemy radars. Hence, what? A cloaking device? Nikola Tesla was said to be involved in this, performing all calculations and also developing various designs, and went on to have allegedly provided the necessary generators. So, where does time travel come in? The experiment went terribly wrong as the ship totally disappeared, and it was teleported to Norfolk, Virginia. Like, what?
Wow.
So when it appeared, some of the crew members were physically attached or fused at a molecular level to the hull of the ship, and others developed mental disorders. They were driven insane, caught on fire. However, some disappeared completely. So others, however, reported having traveled into the future. Some crew members reported other strange events, such as walking through walls, and eventually reappeared in Philadelphia. Of course, some people believe that this never happened, but allegedly it happened. So I know
it's written.
That specific book was in 1900.
1900.
So, it makes you wonder because he had the means.
Yes. I mean, it's not impossible. And the name thing, I mean, he's a long-standing family, big, huge lineage, and it's been here generations upon generations. It's common to take someone's name. But yeah, it is. Yes. I mean, it's not impossible after everything we've seen.
I know.
So what an imagination. Or was it?
Exactly. I know. I know.
What do you think?
There's a lot. If you're looking at Nikola Tesla, we know he was working on this. This wasn't a secret. He talked about it. There's a reason he was brought on. He specifically was brought on to purchase this, or not purchase this, to participate in this. Yes, Kat, 1 second. I'm going to bring this up. Hold on.
Because God knows he doesn't need it.
1 second. I got to go into this. Okay, give me a second. I will bring up a copy. This was the book that I bought way back when, but you can buy the separate ones. Hold on. Present. Share screen. Hold on. I'm on it. Okay, there. This is the one that I got because it had the triple collection with the 3 books. It's a rough read. It is a rough read.
Oof.
You can find the information pretty much like anywhere, really. And I have a lot more information besides that. I just don't have it. I didn't want to make the whole show about this. I just figured we'd start off with a good conspiracy theory in lieu of the fact that it was election week, and it sure makes you wonder. You have some really big names standing behind this guy, like Elon Musk, who he himself believes he was a reincarnation of Tesla.
Does he really?
Yeah, apparently
Musk thinks
that has been a thing. And if
Wow.
that's the case, let's just hypothetically
I don't remember
say,
Tesla having 12 children with different mothers, but whatever.
no,
Yeah.
but here's something else that some people didn't know about Tesla. If you go into the FBI vaults, okay, it is a site that you can go to.
Yeah, a lot of people
There's
don't
a
know that.
section in there that it's all blacked out because they put a lot of their they put a lot of their old paperwork out there, and again, a lot of it get blacked out stuff. But there is a form there that states that Nikola Tesla, little baby Nikola, was brought to the Tesla family by Venusians. Now, Venusian people from the planet Venus were said to have been a technology-based race of people. So, again, conspiracy, but I find it interesting that this is in the FBI vault. You can go and you can find it. And realistically speaking, it says that the two people from Venus came with representatives of the United States and brought baby Nikola to the Tesla family, and that throughout the years, they would come in and they would come and check on him. And this man ends up being brilliant. I don't know. What do you guys all think about that?
I would love to see the IQ for both of them side by side.
And yes, Alan, I do believe it. We're going to do a show on Tartaria at some point because I've got lots of information on Tartaria. Believe me, it is a whole show, though. You can't just, but it's true.
Tartaria is fascinating.
There's so much stuff. So much stuff.
It's fascinating.
I just found stuff today, actually, and I'm just like, what? And they're thinking, is Tartaria coming back? They're uncovering some of this stuff.
They closed Matt's countdown on TikTok. I tried to get back, but I can't find it. You can find videos, but you can't. He can't stay up long enough.
Let's just say, I think that the whole thing, essentially, it was early conditioning from early on as to what we were like. Don't think that there are not people on this planet who do not still use the free energy that has been made available by people like Nikola Tesla, by the technology of the Tartarian Empire. Right. You'd be curious. You see some of these towers up there, if they've got nice little rods.
They don't need the money.
There. They don't. They really don't.
No, so, and Wayne's right.
This is a good point.
Yeah, Wayne. Sorry, go ahead.
If you modify the Tesla story just slightly, you'd have the Superman story. There are no coincidences. Agreed?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Superman was Canadian.
So, I don't know, man. I know.
He was created in Canada, anyways.
I know.
Do you guys remember that story about the little boy who was able to make a Tesla
coil?
Oh, coil.
Yeah.
And tap free energy. It was literally like a coffee can and some piping, and the kid was killed in a car accident. Yeah, I believe it.
Oh, absolutely.
Oil makes the world go round, and so do wars. So,
well, there's technology out there that it's been made available, and every time somebody does something, they go missing, or they end up, shall we say, 6 feet under. And I think that it's sad, but this is pretty much where we are all at.
Yeah.
With all of this, and it all comes back to that name. We'll leave that there. And this is a fact. that the media often has snippets of truth within benign programs to gently whisper the truth into the common people's minds. Yes, 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 yes.
Absolutely.
100%.
We're living it.
We are.
We are living it.
We are absolutely living it.
Yeah. Professor Saad, S-A-A-D, is writing a book called Suicidal Empathy based on that. And he has a book called Parasitic Mind. And that is the whole why are some people affected by it, why are others not? It doesn't, I don't like when people call it the sheep technology, because that's not fair. Some people are just more, maybe they follow the rules and they're just that type of people, or some people don't like to make their own decisions and trust powers that be, whatever. That's gonna I don't want to get us flagged, but anyways.
No, I get you.
I hate that word because it's different reasons, but parasitic mind, if you even read an excerpt of that, you'll understand where I'm going.
I agree.
Okay.
This is a good question.
Hi, Kat. Do you think that some extraterrestrial technology are really just Tesla's devices?
You know what? I think in some cases it's very possible, because so much of it, we don't know. If there were hypothetically 80 trunks of information, that means 50 trunks went missing. Okay. So if that's the case, what was in those trunks that he just maybe started working on and it never came to light? Because let's face it, every time he did something, you had Edison not too far behind him. He started out trying to share this with Edison because he worked for Edison.
Yes.
And some of these ideas got taken.
Edison was a nasty, greedy man.
Well, and then you had, Nikola Tesla, who gave free energy, and that's not what the powers that be want. They want the free energy, but they surely do not want to give it. However, if you look throughout the ancient world, especially, you will see many hints of Tartaria still in existence. Got to go back to the roots. And we think about it, if I'm not mistaken, Tartaria, actually the Tartarians, the Tartarian Empire, I believe wasn't too far from Russia, or maybe been a part of Russia. So you see that link there with the last president and the adventures of Baron von Trump. That just kind of goes in there to going to Russia, portal, other world, dimension, possibly, maybe, where is it, Tartaria? I don't know why Russia.
Well, it's funny because his connection with a certain politician that he's close to.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, some of those things stayed because we were talking about this with Matt, how the copper in the ground for the gardening. My dad did that. Yeah.
All of
and
that.
I just understood that there was energy in the soil. That's all I understood. I was small, like.
No, it is, but it's energy all the time.
I was just, but I was so used
I wear copper for
years.
I've worn copper for years. It does. It grounds you. There's a lot with that. You drink out of copper glasses. We have copper glasses.
Yeah, and to cook with too.
Yeah, we've always done it. If you could find real copper to cook with, because there's a lot of aluminum stuff with copper around it, but
if you're willing to spend the money, you'll be able to find it from like the gourmet sources and people who back stuff like chefware and stuff like that.
Go buy vintage, go buy antique.
Vintage works.
You are getting the real thing. Kat, I'll talk to you about it sometime. I'll talk to you about it, Tartaria, sometime. So that was our bit on all that. So next we'll take one of Amelia's and we'll come back to one of mine. So
mine, I don't really, my thing, I'm still stuck on Halloween. I guess because every time
I'm down for Halloween year round. Let's talk about it.
Well, it's like, it's for some people it's a letdown. For us, like, it's constant, because I laugh. I cannot tell you how many lists I had to send out that people asked me for film. Sorry, my light is dark because my eyes are so sensitive. And I I have these lists, and then I'm like, I need to put this down somewhere because it's driving me crazy. Because me, I don't keep my stuff. I like delete. I have that OCD. I don't like to see my messages pile up and everything. And so someone said to me, well, why don't you just copy and paste it? Because I deleted it. And I can't believe how many people asked for these lists of films. I am a type of person that I'm not a horror fan, believe it or not. I like things that are based on true stories or realistic. I'm not the slasher person. I'm not the Friday the 13th person, but I am the Exorcist person. I will watch those films as cheesy and low budget as they look. Some of them are really good, like The Devil Inside. That one's really good. So people will ask me about it, and I want to. Oh, this is a big one for me. I understand some people who are called to do, hi Howie, to do deliverances or to assist in these cases. But I don't want people to think that because they've watched a few of these movies, that it's like that or that it's safe. I think we can't, read enough of how dangerous this really is. And the preparation for it, everything that happens afterwards. It's really important.
Worked in really malevolent situations, primarily for the last 2 decades, and I am not an exorcist. I will correct people right now. I am not a demonologist, never claimed to be. I just have an understanding for certain things, and I just have a way of being able to communicate with people and how to deal with things. That's been my thing, but I've concentrated primarily on that. And I know how much of a risk it was just to do what I had to do. So I can't imagine somebody who goes face to face, head on, and just go full on, like full on war mode. Not that I haven't done, just in a different way.
Yeah, it's the risks that you take and everything. Howie says, for our clients, for ourselves, and for our families. Michelle has lived through that. Her daughter has lived through it. It's serious. It's not this fun and games that you might see, or this CGI effects and this, like we always say, the right is very close to, what really happens. And, you have to be careful, because if you're extremely vulnerable or empathic, I can guarantee you, watching Exorcism of Emily Rose, they play the actual tapes on that film. If you're watching the documentaries, you can watch this. Don't think for a second you can't be taken in. Don't ever, that's my opinion. Don't ever feel so that it's not going to get you if you're vulnerable. Make sure that you protect yourself if you're watching that. The real documentary is quite frightening, actually.
You have to really, again, I'm a really big believer in mindset. You often hear me talk about that, because I mean, I have my own
you have
opinion.
to know yourself. Yeah.
I have my opinion on a lot of this. That is a pretty deep rabbit hole that steps outside of the realms of, let's just say, religion. I mean, it's out there. It's out there, and I don't talk a lot about it unless I'm amongst friends or peers, and I'll throw a zinger out, and they'll be just like, "Yeah, see, that makes sense." It's like, yeah, I know, right? And we talk about it and we bounce it around. But I remember reading an article one time, this going back years ago, and they stated, and I thought this was really harsh. Then I just started doing research. They stated that Christians or Catholics tended to have more issues with demonic than anybody else. Buddhists apparently never, like ever. So does that fall into conditioning? Does that fall into upbringing? What we're taught? Because I know everyone, people come from all walks of life, all different levels of faith and different types of faith. But, is that religion specifically, is it so ingrained into us? Because they'll have different names for these things, for sure, and thank you, sir. Thank you. it's so ingrained to us that, if you covet thy neighbor's wife, you're going to hell. It's no wonder we got like spirits of that faith that are stuck there thinking, I think I'm just going to take my chances and stay right here. And, the fear of God really is a thing for some people with conditioning.
But I'm referring to, I understand your point. I'm referring to people who are just coming into this and can't sleep at night if they watch a film like this. I feel like that's a vulnerability that can be exploited easily. And you have to just be careful because, again, like Michelle said, mindset is that you have to be prepared and strong enough to listen to something like that. I mean, we don't listen to any of those things openly when we're listening to stuff. It's always a headset.
Well, because you have bleed through.
Yeah.
So I understand. Like if you're listening to a documentary, let's say, and they're playing actual recordings, then you are going to potentially get that bleed through if they're actual recordings.
That's what I meant to say.
And that could most certainly cause an issue, especially if you get that spike, that fear that goes up inside of you. Because now that's that mindset. It puts you in this place of fear, which can in itself put you in a different place. I'll leave it there. But when this is what so many people have a hard time getting their head around. It's like it's just a movie. Yeah.
Oh, the movies, the documentaries.
Even documentary, it doesn't matter. Like they're thinking out of it as it's just something on TV.
Well, documentaries I take a little bit differently.
Well, so do I. But the only point I'm making here is that they're looking at something on television and they don't think that you can get into any trouble by watching something on television. I think is where the only place I'm trying to go with it. Whereas it's still a legitimate EVP. That could still, there are things all around us. I mean, we have multiple dimensions within our space,
What she said. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah. You just to be, careful and know what you're getting into and really do your research before. This is like for the, the novel person going in. And I've had people who are devout Catholics ask me if they could be possessed by watching a possession on a movie. I'm like, no, but if your mindset takes you there, it doesn't mean that you're possessed. It just means that, something's wrong there. Honestly. I just think you should be careful if you're going to tag along with groups that are doing malevolent research or investigations. Make sure that you do your research on who you're going with. Make sure that you're safe. I mean, Devil Inside, she was assisting, and it's based on a true story. She was assisting a priest who was sanctioned by the Vatican. This happened in Rome. To do oh my God, an exorcism. And it ended up bouncing out. It was delivered, but it was delivered into her. And she, in turn, murdered everybody there. And she was put in a hospital with air quotes. But this part of the hospital is locked down and has crucifixes everywhere with priests that walk in and out. Now, the only reason why I can tell you that this is based on a true story is because my cousin actually lives close by there. Yeah. So everything there, other than the name of this woman, is real. They filmed it like a Blair Witch thing. It's a cheesy film, but if you sit there and take the story, you'll be like, what the hell just happened?
It gets
no history of mental illness. Just saying.
See, there we go. Well, while we are on the topic of the church and evil and such, exorcism.
Sometimes, yep.
We're going to talk about something really, really cool. Did you guys know that there was a thing called the Chord of Evil?
No.
Why did the Catholic Church ban a musical chord?
What?
Music, apparently, I'm going to read this off.
What
Okay.
haven't they been?
I like to think I'm brilliant, but I can't remember everything. So I'm going to just read this off. So
she's brilliant.
music has a power. I'm getting this article from Historic Mysteries. I like to give credit where credit is due. Music has a power to move. Harmonies, chord progressions, songs can transport the listener, changing their mood and their outlook in a way which seems entirely beyond their control. Nobody would dispute that music has a power to evoke emotions, but some could also be a dangerous tool. Okay, this is where a lot of that, yes, exactly. As I was about to say, Howie, a lot of what they say, that metal artists will use. And rock and roll music was thought to corrupt the youth in the 50s and the 60s. So now they're just like, but anyway, the behaviors of music encourage not for the music itself. However, if you thought that music could not be inherently evil, then the Catholics of the Renaissance would disagree. They thought that one single chord between the augmented fourth and diminished fifth, but not quite either, was just inappropriate. And it was the Diabolus in Musica, the devil in music. It was a chord of evil itself.
Oh my word.
It's also called the tritonus. It's certainly not easy on the ear, as they say. It spans 3 entire steps of the musical scale, making it one of the most dissonant harmonies which can be produced. It was an ugly sound, and the ugliness spoke against the association with the divine. The chord of evil is most definitely not beautiful. There was no way the Catholic Church reasoned that this sound could be the work of God. Such an awful noise must indeed be the work of the devil.
Well, you're talking about the Renaissance. Good Lord.
So, of course, in reasoning, the church was tying itself to dogmatic knots. God had either created everything, and this everything also included the chord of evil, that the devil must have somehow corrupted it. And hence, this is what we have. So,
is that how they're explaining? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, apparently, even today, this is not a thing. The devil's
really?
chord.
Is that what they're using to explain away the syphilis and wine drinking of that era?
I know.
I don't know. Like,
exactly.
Seriously, it was an era of poetry and art. You know that wasn't all that's going on. I find it, how he says, remember. Yeah.
So we have to think about that.
I agree with that 100%, but I also believe that everybody wanted to be somebody in the Renaissance. Yeah. Everybody wanted to be somebody, and somebody probably had a way of creating fear, almost like the effect of Salem. It feels like that kind of thing to me. I mean, who was it that wouldn't accept tomatoes because they said that they were poisonous? Was it the English? I can't remember who it was.
I don't know.
The Spaniards bring tomatoes to them, and they were like, those are poison. Those are food of poison. They're trying to poison us. It's a time where they're still learning. And that was a great way of controlling some stuff. I think people back then marked everything they didn't understand as the devil's work, and all the way into the 50s and 60s as well with metal music.
I agree. I mean, I think that, you're just going back to the heavy metal days, and you had Tipper Gore sitting there in front in the Senate, and just, and Dee Schneider shows up and went, "What? Do you actually know what this song was about?" And, and then when her husband was running for president, she's out there playing drums like a bloody maniac. I'm like, wait a minute.
This is really cool.
Gotta love her. I don't love her, but I know.
It's really cool. I mean, In the Air of Night is one of my favorite pieces of percussion. Yeah, I don't. I think it's just
like
I think it's really interesting, and I'm with Howie on the frequency thing, and I also believe a lot of it has to do with anything they didn't understand or seemed disturbing or uncomfortable to them. They always associated it with evil. Especially the religious fanatics, right?
They did, and yeah, a little bit more of a humbling time, shall we say?
Yeah, I find that really amazing. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, now we know.
Wow.
So here's something else. Okay, no, go ahead before I go to the next.
No, I was going to say it's probably just a really harsh chord. You know, because as you go to the end of the scale of the piano, which all music is based on piano sheet music, and you go right into that bass, it has no sound, really. It's a vibration. It's like, right? It's not really a sound you want to hear unless
Everything
you're
is
watching a
vibration
horror
and
film.
frequency. So what,
Yes.
how does that fit on the scale of?
It's creepy, but I associate it with horror flicks.
I love it. So
Yeah, me too. I
I'm
mean,
also
we
a
both like
headbanger.
Peter Gundry, so we're different
I
that
love
way.
all of it. I love
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah.
I'm a connoisseur of music. I really do love it.
I love all music as well, except jazz, just saying.
I'm not good with crooning.
I get to
Just
sing the
not.
crooning. That's the only reason why I liked it, because I could hit the notes. But jazz, I said to my friend John Wooler, who's was still is a music producer. I said to him, he asked me a question about something, and he said, "What is that? Is it jazz?" It wasn't a text back and forth. I said, he asked me a question. I said, "I'd rather put toothpicks in my eyelids than listen to jazz right now." And he wrote back, same. And I'm like, wow, this is somebody who's been nominated for Grammys 28 times and has 5 or 27 times. Like, it was just shocking because he loves all music, but like me, can't handle jazz. And you know, I don't know
everybody.
why.
Some people absolutely love it. I personally
Oh,
am
I
not
hate
one of
pop
those
music
people.
too. So don't come at me. I really am not a fan of pop music.
Okay.
Very few. I miss the classics, but I guess that's age too, right?
For some.
I love classical music.
I'm still a metalhead.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
Yeah, I very much love the cello.
We're going to get into, we hear about reincarnation. We hear about past lives. We hear about things like that. But have you guys ever heard of pre-birth life? Pre-birth life. To me, that would be past life. This is a fancy way of saying. I don't know.
Go back to my ancestor, who is me.
I know. So, with that being said, it says, forget life after death. This is an article from How and Wise, giving credit where credit is due again. Forget life after death. These women claim to remember a spiritual realm where souls prepare to enter human bodies through a vortex. That was the emoji I gave. What? So, anyway, as it says, these women and others claim they can remember living in a spiritual realm where their souls are getting ready to enter a human body and to be sent to Earth through a vortex.
How incredible is that?
I know. So they call it a pre-birth tunnel before entering their body. So people who believe in these pre-birth experiences think that we are spiritual souls, of course, being sent to Earth to live life according to a contract, which many of us have said the same thing. A lot of mediums are like, yes, you've got a soul contract, and this is your tribe, this is your soul circle, right? But here it says, while talking to the dead is common claim, those who believe in pre-birth consciousness say it helps them connect with people who aren't born yet. They don't always remember being alive before birth, but some people believe their future children spoke to them in dreams before they even knew they were pregnant. Others say they've seen their future grandchildren in vivid dreams. Some have even claimed to say that we chose our life before coming to Earth. Of course, this is something that's, I think, pretty common. Like a lot of people, a lot of mediums will tell you that. Dr. Christine Dolahan describes her rebirth experience as a vivid journey through a spiritual dimension. She begins by recalling walking through a space that was hard to define but felt both concrete yet not. The space was full of vibrant energy and color, especially bright pink and white hues, and it felt warm and beautiful, bringing her a sense of peace and comfort. In this space, she noticed what she appeared to be buildings, which she believes were some sort of training facilities for souls. The buildings were places where souls prepared for their lives on Earth, studying spiritual matters and making plans for upcoming lifetimes. And as she continued walking, Dr. Dolahan felt as though she was on a path, though it was not a typical human path. It felt more ethereal, less concrete. She was accompanied by a spiritual mentor, and it highly evolved being who she saw as a male, though she understood that gender was not relevant in this realm. So she was taught about karma and had a big, understanding about her life's
Mm-hmm.
karma. They communicated telepathically, also receiving spiritual insights from a higher consciousness or God, sharing truths about the nature of existence. So even though she
Wow.
began feeling anxious and sensing that it was almost time for her to leave this peaceful realm, she describes this feeling not as her person, but as her essence. There was some kind of a ball of energy or a being of light. And even though she expressed reluctance about leaving this place, she had experienced Earth's challenges before and even bargained with her spiritual mentor, asking if this could be her last time. And the mentor explained, how many times have we all said that? I want to come back. The mentor explained that while it was her decision, if she accomplished what she needed to on Earth, she might be able to skip some lifetimes or take a shortcut. I'm like, what? So,
Wait a minute. I could have skipped high school?
I know, right? How many times do we have to do that over? But
Ugh.
she said that she describes what is like a vortex-like area resembling a helicopter hub and was standing on the edge watching other souls with their mentors all preparing for their departure. And she said that she describes her experience as though she was pushed into the vortex and fell through it almost in reverse. And then suddenly she was slammed into her physical body with great force. And she felt that it was a painful, cold, and bright experience, leaving her exhausted. So I don't know, guys, chime in. What are your thoughts?
I've heard a little bit about this. I don't know if maybe it was Gaia or something like that a while back, but it
Mhm.
makes so much sense. I don't like to call it life before, because I feel like we never really die. So
Mhm.
one of our chapters, and to be able to recall that and remember that with such clarity, vividness, it's not really, it's not
Mhm.
foggy for her. I mean, she seems to be very detailed. I think it's fascinating, and I feel like there's a lot of truth to it that we just are
Mhm.
made not to remember. Yeah,
Mhm.
see,
Yeah, quantum
quantum.
science just can or does happen. Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of good mediums tap into, let's say, past lives. You could do past life regressions. You can do, you can regress far back enough to even when you leave this life and what happens to you afterwards, as
yeah,
far as decompressing and going and purging yourself of this life and learning and going over what you've learned and the lessons and so on. And if you were naughty, then you're gonna have to, I guess, atone for a few things or get rewired, whatever the case may be. But if that's the case, it's interesting that if people have been able to contact these essences just before coming here, you really don't hear about it. And this is a good one. I remember reading about that hiker who was going skiing and ended up in LA. That's a really good
yeah.
one. It's crazy.
That's an
It is cheap.
amazing one. And he was just like, where the hell?
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
right?
And people are
Wormholes.
like, why are
Yes.
you
Yes.
dressed like that? Like, buddy, it's hot.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So I don't know. I truly do believe that there are most certainly um you say wormholes or we say, portals. I think it's really something along the lines of we are closer to flipping into other dimensions or realities than we think we are because it happens all the time. I mean, I've done shows on just time travel. I mean, I think Joe and I on Grey Zone, we did like a 2 or 3-parter. There was
Yeah.
that
I
much
watched that.
information, when you're going back into ancient times and you're getting into temples and you're getting into all these power spots that still exist today that we just don't have that kind of access to. But these things create, they get created all the time, sometimes just with our intention, things coming in and out. Like again, it's a whole other show, but oh my God, we really can get into some a pretty deep rabbit hole with that. Summerland, school's out. Now I'm down. Summer. Wonder where my clothes. Yeah. Going down there. With another, yes, we're colliding with another universe. Who knows what this can cause in our realm?
Dimensions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen that, but I've seen the previews. There's a show out now where they literally walk from one dimension into another. It's a series. I can't remember what it's called. It just came out. Is it called The Fringe? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I know there's a new one now on, I believe is it Netflix? Is it Netflix or is it Amazon? There's a new one there that's, I love shows like that. There's all kinds of them out there. I went into the Wayback Machine, to find some really good ones. And I'll tell you, when we were saying, Wayne had made a comment earlier about how little tidbits of information have been left in certain TV shows. And you kind of wonder, like, okay, do the powers that be just watch these same shows and make things happen? Or do they already know and they are essentially giving us clues? Because I'll tell you, I started binge watching Supernatural again because I freaking love it. But I stopped at season 10. So now I'm moving through it all. And now when I watch it again, you would not believe the little tidbits of hints that you were given just in that series alone.
But I'm watching that as well. Like it's on in the background, like a radio. That's how I watch TV. But I don't like it after they get rid of the one that plays the King of Hell. I can't remember his name. Pardon?
Crowley.
Yes.
Crowley, yeah.
I get really upset that they got rid of him, and he was really upset that they wrote him out because he didn't know he was being written out. I often think they're all based on truth. I think Supernatural, the first 4 seasons, is very much a lot of lore, and you learn a lot because they do reference the books right there and the names. So I think they gave you more in the first 5 years than after that.
There's still so many clues left in there, like even right up until, like, I think we're in 12 now, and I can't believe the stuff that they're leaving in there. We just look at each other like, did we just hear that?
Well, that last season's gonna kill you. But I've watched all of it, but several times, but my favorite is the first 5 seasons because I love walking to an episode of Supernatural if I'm on the treadmill because it's exactly the amount of time that I need. But I love it because I already know what's happening. So if I miss something, but I learned a lot. I remember when I first watched it, I asked you questions about it because I didn't understand some of the stuff. And you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen that in forever. I've got to watch it again. It's incredible. And the time travel one I love. I love that episode. Like who doesn't like Dean dressed that way though, like, but anyways, that's very interesting. I think time travel and all of these different dimension things are just makes you want to watch The Matrix all over again.
There's a lot more to it, boy, when you start getting into all the ancient stuff and then working your way through and you realize how much is out there. It is mind-blowing. It is totally mind-blowing.
The fact that they use symbolism through the whole series to protect themselves. It's not just salt. Everybody remembers salt because it's always Dean screaming, get the salt.
I know, get the salt. I know.
But it's when you see that, and then when you see that he can be brought back and things like that, that there's deals to be made, not just to suffer, but also to come back and help. And Lilith makes an appearance, and there's so much.
I'm going to put this up, but you're not going to read it.
Okay.
Everybody can read it. Everybody's watching can see it.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Right?
Yeah. And it's not only in that series, it's also in the series Blacklist.
Yeah.
Blacklist covers a lot of stuff that actually happened because they're an FBI black site. So you'll see a lot of stuff there, as does Homeland, the show Homeland. You'll see a lot of stuff there. There's
stuff. I was watching a program, a paranormal program, and it was on the zombie virus, and they were investigating the whole program was based on this effect, and of course we went into the world went quiet for a while, and then they came back after 3 months, and it was all exactly the same as what we were going through currently. I was mind blown. Like, I have to record this because what the heck is this? Like, I was shocked. But anyway, it was fascinating. I took the clips of it because I really couldn't believe what I was hearing. Anyway, Adrian, do you think The Simpsons will show us some spiritual insight soon? You know what? They show us a lot. Let's talk.
I feel like he travels back in time. Like, I'm not gonna lie there. I was really impacted by what happened with Balenciaga campaign a few years ago. Highly impacted. And I get angry when I find out certain stores still carry them. Like, I refuse to put any money towards it. I don't care if anything's changed. To me, that's a stain on the name. You ruined Balenciaga's name. Anyways, that was, to see that they had done that fashion show before the fashion show, and the fashion show wasn't even the big deal. It was the campaign after that. But to see that they had the fashion show, and to say it was goth would make it floral. Okay, this was like Walking Death. And I couldn't believe it because I don't watch The Simpsons. The only cartoon I watch is like Scooby-Doo. Like I'm not one. I can't watch adult cartoon. I just, anyways, it's not for me. But I think that people who watch the show and tell me stuff, I'm like, what? And then I have to search the clip, and I'm just so amazed. And I think to myself, this guy's traveling back and forth in time.
Yeah.
How do and not even just The Simpsons, that other show, South Park? Is it called South Park?
Yeah, I can't keep up with them. I don't watch a lot of television. I watch.
No, I don't watch it, but
I'm just.
You hear people talk about the cartoons. Is it South Park? You guys tell me. I don't watch these cartoons because I think anyone who's interested in the paranormal loved Scooby as a kid. Because that, and HR Puff and stuff and House of Frankenstein, like those were our shows. But it astounds me. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I hear people talk about South Park, but I'm not sure if I've never watched an episode of it. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's not really my thing typically,
No.
but there are a lot of things out there that, hidden in
Witchy poo, yes.
plain sight, so to speak, So I think that if you really pay attention, then you would basically, you see things hidden in plain sight. Just pay attention.
Hi, Dragon. I like Howie's. Our shows were created by acid heads, no doubt. Generation X really got the short end of the stick with some of the stuff. But we do have the best shows.
Yeah. But Howie did say something, earlier. Jules Verne wasn't so far off. No. Some people were so far ahead of their time in stuff, and the whole steampunk movement, really, the Jules.
I love Jules
Verne thing. So do I. And
there's a coloring book.
There's just stuff in there. Oh man, I don't know. There's just some really.
I love steampunk. I love the metals. I love the hardness of it, and it's almost like clockwork orangeness of it. Like, I don't know, like Time to Die kind of stuff. And I don't know. I just love steampunk. I think I could live that and be very content, believe it or not, even though I'm like cherry dresses and flowers, but like, I think I could do it. And
yeah,
I do like it. And
it's a big movement.
Yeah, but it's, I wanted, if it's okay to bring this up now. Yes. Doctor Who. I don't really know him well, but I know my brothers watched it. I learned a lot about it at Comic-Con because my daughter had to interview all of them. So. But I wanted to speak about past life doppelgangers for some celebrities.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah. I think we were all too young to see Clockwork Orange, Alan. Even now at
I've seen it.
55, I think
No,
I'm
no,
too
no,
young
no,
to
man.
watch
I
it.
saw it.
Yeah.
I saw it. I
I'm good.
did.
I'm done.
Back in the day, I saw it.
Mm.
But
It's
no,
still
let's talk about that. While you do that, I'll see if I can bring up some
yes,
pictures.
like Keanu Reeves and Matthew McConaughey's a big one, Leonardo DiCaprio. There's just, you look back, and Mark Zuckerberg is very interesting because there's a portrait of a King Philip of Spain who ruled Portugal in the mid 17th century, and you see his face. Tell me it's not Zuckerberg. Yeah, Clockwork is on crack. You got that right.
Yeah, I'm just okay. Okay, I've got some. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to bring it up.
I should have sent them to you. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay because there's a whole pile of them. Okay, guys, we're going to look at a few of them right now. So for those who are listening, we're going to be looking at celebrity alleged reincarnation photos that look so much the same that you would think they've literally just came back. So I'm just going to bring this up.
Some are ancestors.
Right. So here we've got
Shia LaBeouf.
That's Justin Timberlake, right? Is that him?
Oh, okay.
Right. Michael Jackson.
Oh my. Yeah. Sharon Lawrence.
Yeah. And then we've got this is interesting.
No
I
way.
wonder if AI had a hand in this somehow.
Ellen DeGeneres? Who is that? It's really tiny on my screen. Is it Ellen?
Hold on. Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Isn't that crazy?
There's a few that are different
Matthew
sex.
McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey, that picture is not his relative. Someone on Reddit posted it that it's their great-great-grandfather.
But isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's not even his relative.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. There's a few of him.
But didn't even realize it, right? Okay. Eddie Murphy.
Yeah. Eddie Murphy's historical. Yes.
This is a big one too.
Some of them are big historical.
We'll get to it. Hold on. Okay, that's kind of wiggy right there.
Oh my.
Like some of these are pretty wild, you know?
Yeah.
Like Zac Efron.
Yeah, Zac Efron. He's very young there. Yeah.
Here's Keanu.
Keanu goes back to, I think it was the 1800s.
Yeah.
He's got several, and I don't know if it's the same person, but he does have several. I don't remember where it is.
Jack Black and Paul Revere. That's a good pose.
Right?
That's a good pose.
But I wonder if that one's I've seen.
This one's interesting.
This one's very common to see.
Yeah,
this one was one of the first.
Yeah, that one and this one here. Oops, hold on. Let me get back here. Where we're going. That's not what I want. Okay. Oh, this is an article, so it will not let me. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay.
Oh, Lord.
That's pretty close.
Both gangsters, just saying.
He's
not someone
It's pretty
look
close.
At Orlando Bloom.
There we
I
go.
love me some Orlando.
I
Look
don't know
at that. Wow.
I know.
You know, I see that old picture and I see him in Pirates of the Caribbean. In that black and white. Right? Like, if you're just listening to us on audio, you're going to want to see this. There are several. And then you'll say, maybe people are saying, oh, but they're showing celebrities. Well, if we showed people, regular people, you wouldn't know who they were and it wouldn't be as fascinating, right? Johnny Depp's was a big one too.
That's a compelling one too. Some of it looks pretty wild, you know.
Someone's great-grandfather again. See, like you have to ask yourself, how is it possible? And you know, I think there's a lot to be said about 6 degrees of separation.
It really makes you wonder, yes, that, or even the theory that, like, how many lives you can live simultaneously.
Yes.
You know,
and just because they're in black, here it is. 1530 was the first one for Keanu Reeves. 1530, 1875. He's got two. So the one you showed was 1875, and then there's one before that where he literally looks like Christopher Columbus.
Good grief.
Yeah, seriously, he really does.
Yeah. Hold on. Okay, let me bring that up.
Michael Jackson. I have to tell you guys something funny today. I watched a video of a guy, an impersonator of Michael Jackson, doing the moonwalk, and he's on a dock, right? Like facing the ocean. But what you don't know is the other side's open too. And he moonwalked himself right off the dock into the ocean. I just say it was so funny because they were playing Smooth Criminal at the same time. I couldn't stop. Almost peed myself.
That's funny.
Oh my. Which
Michael
one?
Jackson?
Oh my. The Egyptian head.
Yeah.
Is that real?
Mm-hmm. Well,
I
apparently,
mean, that face
Egyptian
is not
statue.
his birth face. I mean,
Well,
that face
it's
is,
not, which makes you, I guess you have to
yeah.
ask yourself, did he, commission himself to look close to it? I
We
know
would
for a
never
while
know.
he did a big stint a while back because I was in California at the time, and I went to Disneyland, and he had a huge display there, and he played. It was based on one of his songs,
See,
and
I love his music.
oh yeah, and he
Yeah.
was essentially an Egyptian god or an Egyptian pharaoh, and there was a whole theater that was all done up an Egyptian theme, and they were playing all of this, and you're looking at it going, dang.
His creative mind was genius, and it's also very much resembles a tortured child as well. That profile is just there. It really is. Sherry, wonder if they're a different race of being that live longer.
100%.
Anything's possible.
100%. I mean,
But I love looking at those.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, there's a lot of hybrids out there, and I also believe that there are, people will say, oh, they'll think of a reptilian that can shapeshift. Are they shapeshifting, or are they just projecting to you how they want you to see them? I mean, we don't know exactly. There's so much out there that we just don't really.
Did you see that episode on Supernatural? The shapeshifters in the
Oh
main?
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
I like the way he called it a meat suit. Yeah.
I know.
Oh my.
I mean, they're right on. They are right on with that.
Yeah. Their series is phenomenal. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've watched it. That's how good it is. But I do, like I said, prefer the first half.
Yes. I'm just still looking for something. So you guys go ahead.
It's okay. Dragon said, oh, I like that. Projecting how they want us to see them. Absolutely. Which also ties in with mimics. There's a segue.
With a what? Sorry?
With a mimic. How it projects how they want you to see them.
Yes.
That's a big one.
That is a big one. I'm just looking for something that I had saved. So 1 second. I'm just going to go in and grab this. So 1 second, and then I'll have a picture to show. 1 second.
Yeah, Keanu was in a time traveling movie, The Lake House.
Okay. I think we may have covered this one here before. Okay. The cursed Bulgarian phone number. I'm sure we've talked about this. Again, historic mysteries. I've pulled this up because this was actually included in a show that I had done one time. So there's something quite fascinating about this, because how many times do we fall into certain things like Ouija boards, and there's certain things like Bloody Mary that are a thing, right? Looking into a mirror at night, or human population obsessed with the unknown.
I did the Bloody Mary thing.
Yes. There's a tradition that survived through phone numbers. One in particular has captivated an entire country. The story of the Bulgarian cursed phone number. I did this show on one of the shows that I did with Joe, something on High Strangers. I don't remember it. But it's just a story of that number, which is supposed to be said to be an unlucky number. So it's not unusual, it says, to find hotels that don't have a 13th floor, right? Or they refuse to have a room number 13, as they believe it's bad luck. Always been great luck for me, just saying.
But there's always a 13.
There is, technically speaking, right? It's along those lines. So the number, which is 0888-888-888, being disconnected. A pattern began to emerge in the early 2000s of people dying when they owned this number. So the first owner was the CEO of Mobitel, a phone company that originally issued this phone number. His name was Vladimir Gashnov. He was reported that he died of cancer early 2001. And it was believed to have been attributed to his exposure to radioactive materials. But rumors circulated that his business rival had exposed him to all of this. Anyway, it seemed at the time a strange coincidence, which I don't believe in, but anyhow, this is what happened. So the second man that had this phone number was said to have been, a mob person. I'm just watching how I word things. His name was Konstantin Dimitrov. He died in 2003. And while in the Netherlands, he was assassinated by a rival faction. So again, it was supposed to be that he went there and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to get into all of that because it gets crazy. But one of the few things found on him was his phone, and it had this phone number. The third man met his fate in 2005. This time the phone number had made its way to Bulgaria. The businessman, again, Konstantin Dietliev, had picked up the phone quite recently when he was killed outside of a restaurant. It was suspected that he was also involved in some crimes and blah, blah, blah. After his death, the number got suspended. So anyone who tries to reach the number is now greeted with the same message every time: outside network coverage. So, and it's not unique. Apparently, there's a country in Thailand, and the number is 999-999. And it's marked as a death number as well. Legend suggests that if you wish to die, then you should ring that number after midnight. I'm sorry.
I'm going to ask my girlfriend. She's from Thailand. I'm going to ask her
right?
about that. Yeah.
And then there's an American number that claims to be haunted, and I won't blurt that out.
No. Do we have one in Canada?
I don't know. I'm working my way down the list. However, unlike other numbers, it's not an immediately deadly number. Instead, ringing this number appears to begin something strange. It's claimed that answering this number will lead to hearing a man's voice counting from 1 to 7. After this, they will hear their name called out, followed by an exact location and what they're doing. People who have done it claimed it was like a ghost was standing right beside them.
Wow.
But there's all kinds of stuff.
Is this like a deal thing, or is this?
You know,
this is interesting. I'm going to ask Janita about that.
Yeah, I'm going to be trying those numbers.
No, I'm not going to try them, but I want to ask her if she knows about that. Sherry, number 13 in Italy is good luck. I think Friday the 13th being a bad luck number is mostly Western, like North America kind of thing. You go to Italy, there's 13th floors, there's 13th. They celebrate the 13th. They don't like 17. Yeah. Figure that one out.
Right.
If you're born on the 17th, they'll even change the date on your birthday.
Yeah, it's different for everyone.
Yeah. Okay. It's cultural.
So we're going to do a sponsor and station ID. Then I'm going to show a picture and we can look at it and all kind of go, what the heck is that thing? So let's go.
And then I want to ask you a question. Okay, you are listening to The Outer Realm with MicheleDerocher and Amelia Pisano, coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans on 107.7 FM radio, as well as on the Gulf Coast on 105.3 FM radio. We're live on Roku, Rumble, YouTube, X, and all of our Facebook pages. Listen to us on Alexa Prime and any streaming platform that you use. Search United Public Radio and then look for The Outer Realm. You'll find us there. I don't believe that there is a platform that you wouldn't find us on, thanks to UPRN and our network owner and producer, Joe Montaldo. Our guests tonight are you. It's open mic night, highly requested, most requested show segment that we ever had. And we love doing it. It's so much fun. Thank you for all being here. Thank you all in the chat room. You make it so much fun. Moment of gratitude. And I'm talking too fast. Folgers Coffee from our first episode. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We thank you for your continued support, for sponsoring our show. We absolutely love you, and we hope that this relationship, and I feel like I'm on Price is Right, lasts forever and ever. Our fabulous banner and promo media is courtesy of Steve McGinnis. He is a horror illustrator and a fabulous artist. Steve also creates custom commission pieces. He can be found on Facebook if you want to connect with him and have something commissioned or purchase from him. Look for Steve McGinnis on Facebook. Our intro, outro is courtesy of Dr. Snick, the Sonic Surgeon, aka Justin Snicker award-winning composer, vocalist, and musician. You can find his music on Amazon and Bandcamp. Stream again on any platform that you normally use. Find Dr. Snick on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you, Justin. Lastly, scolding part. You are watching this episode, or are you listening to this episode right now as you hear my voice? Please give us a like, subscribe, and smash the notifications button wherever you are, on whatever platform that you are listening or watching us on. Please kindly share us with your friends and family. Help us grow on social media so we can continue bringing you the best in their fields. And we are done.
Woohoo! All right. Okay. So I found this picture that I wanted to share with you guys, and before I show it, I'm going to read what the caption was. It said it was captured from a live feed provided by the Institute of Wildlife Studies. The poster's friend thought that he might be able to catch something in this live feed, so he tried it out. And this was one of the objects captured in a single frame at 60 frames a second, which would suggest the object was traveling in excess of 80,000 miles per hour.
Wow.
So I just saw that one. Oh, I got to show this to you guys. I want to know what everybody thinks here. What? Yeah. Okay. This is the object.
Oh, my.
Right? So 80,000 miles an hour is what they suggest this thing was traveling in excess of, because captured in a single frame at 60 frames per second. Thoughts? Everybody chime in. What do you think this is? Because it almost looks humanoid in a way, but that's just like one angle. It has looks like a head and from Monopoly. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Thoughts?
The guy from Monopoly. I love that. Mm-hmm. Where's my $200?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kat says looks humanoid. It does.
I know. So
but it can be alien. I mean, there are humanoid.
Yeah. But I mean, it would be traveling, a suit, something. I don't know.
Yeah, but if it's
be going that fast, there's a bit of a G-force to that, you know what I mean?
But if it's extraterrestrial, I mean, they would have the power to scoot up and down, right?
One would think.
I mean, if we took a picture of everybody Scotty beamed up, it might look like that. Mm-hmm. You just don't know. No, seriously. Like I'm trying to put it in context so people understand what I'm saying. Because I do know Beam Me Up Scotty just because I haven't seen the show.
Right. My
brothers are sci-fi fans.
So looks like a tight suit, maybe. But it is fascinating. And it is just one of those things that
it's like a silver Oscar.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah. But I mean, I'll tell you, I've seen photos that have left me, speechless as well. So
it's hard to get the just of the size of it because we have nothing to compare it to. That's the whole thing.
Yes, I agree. Yeah,
60 frames a second. That's a very professional camera. You can go even faster than that. Mm-hmm. They do it for car races. Mm-hmm. But I'm just...
Maybe.
It looks like Mae West.
I know.
Doesn't look busty enough, but yeah.
G-force could do some damage.
Could squish them, yeah. But that's pretty interesting. It really does look like a silver Oscar to me. I need a size. So I need something to compare it to.
I would agree with you on that. Yeah. So let's kind of go with this for our UFO people there. We know that disclosure is coming up next week. A lot of us know about Project Bluebeam. A lot of us, have read, enthusiasts and people who research it know that there are things that are going to start surfacing. Do you think now that let's face it, we're in an age of technology, right? Everybody's got a cell phone for the most part, and you can start capturing things yourself. So it's kind of hard to say, no, this doesn't exist. This isn't a thing. Right. And things are starting to disclose. Like we're starting to see things in plain sight. I've been seeing things for the last bloody 5 years just in one area. I can't even imagine if you start getting things, on a different level. And with that being said, it will lead me to the next our next topic, which is hold on here.
I love show and tell.
It's fun. It is. It's fun. It's great. Okay, hold on. I'm going to get rid of this one. We're going to look at this. So this comes from Mary Joyce's site. She's been on the show once before, and we'll, definitely bring her back on again in the new year. But she says there's an undersea UFO base, which has been revealed by a Disclosure Project attorney. And the following information, I'll read it out here and see if I can bring these pictures up. I don't think I can.
I didn't know there was
part of the article.
Disclosure attorneys.
It was published on October 24th of this year.
Oh, wow.
By Lad Bible, a British digital publisher with offices England, Ireland, Australia, and New Zealand. According to the article, Daniel Sheehan, an attorney working with the Disclosure Project for the last 30 years, has made a bombshell claim by revealing the locations of 2 bases stuffed full of alien goodies. I like alien goodies. I'd love to know more about this. 3 different species, I like to say race, personally, have bases here on our planet, high up in the remote mountain regions where they're away from all the people's observations and very remarkably under the sea floors of our planet. This one of the bases, this one here, just down off Baja, down off south of Los Angeles, California, a place called, I knew about this one actually, Guadalupe Island, or the Isla Guadalupe. And Joe would know this because he served on this carrier. The USS Nimitz was placed there to monitor them, and they have monitored over 100 of these UFOs coming and going, coming down from our space or out of space and going under the water in that spot. Now, of course, with that being said, Joe himself has been on the show and has talked about the experiences that, have been witnessed back when he was serving on the Nimitz. And recently, of course, the famous TikTok videos, some of those have come from the Nimitz. Nimitz just seems to be in the right place at the right time all the time. But this is one of those places where if they're seeing things because you're stationed there, it would make a lot of sense.
Maybe the ships there is not the States.
I don't know, right? So I don't know.
No.
But very, very fascinating. So that's definitely a new one. And those of you guys, you should go check out Mary Joyce's page, which is called Skyships Over Cashiers, and
she's amazing.
She's done some really incredible stuff. So it looks like also I'll tackle one of her other articles here. Ancient rock art may depict giant ET. So some of the most ancient rock art in the USA is on the walls of the Horseshoe Canyon in Utah's Canyonlands National Park. One group of painted figures that stands out is called the Holy Ghost Group. The name most likely was given to it by Christians, obviously, but the art was created long before Christianity reached that part of the world. There are more than 80 human-like figures painted on the canyon's walls, and the ghost is the only one with a uniquely detailed head. It also stands head and shoulders above the other figures. Many people believe a ghost is actually an extraterrestrial visitor. Of course, it can't be proven, but it's interesting to contemplate. So I'm going to put this up. I'm going to put this up so you guys can see it. So 1 second, bear with me, so we can see this photo. Okay. So add to. So this is it right here. I can't make it any bigger. I apologize, but this is a group of photos right here of rock art. And this is the big guy right in the middle here. Looks like what is the big giant ET.
Yeah.
So I know.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
I know. But
Nothing.
I wanted to share it because it gives you an idea what I'm speaking with. So or speaking about. So there's so much information that is starting to come to light. I think with that being said, what do you guys think? Oh, get me started, Alan.
It's a pyramid, isn't it?
Get me started, Alan.
Okay. Yeah. How is the Grand Canyon connected to ancient Egypt? I thought there's a pyramid there. Didn't we have a guest on?
Okay. There's a lot of things in here,
Yeah.
and a lot of people believe that it's a hoax. No, it's not a hoax, because what people don't realize is that there were strong connections to Atlantis and ancient Egypt in this part of the world. The Celts came over to this part of the world pre-Columbian times. Remember, we've talked before about there being Stonehenge in Lake Michigan.
Oh, they're
It's
finding
now
a lot
underwater
of stuff right now.
next to a big boulder that's got a petroglyph of a mastodon.
Yeah.
That's pre-Ice Age. So think about that for a minute. So ancient Egypt, allegedly there is a cave that has been found with a lot of like Egyptian stuff. Then we say Egypt. I mean, realistically, yes, it's because it's what we know Egypt looks like. But way back in the day, there were extraterrestrials allegedly who had, who were pharaohs and donned a lot of this stuff. And Anunnaki allegedly had the same sort of garb and the same sort of architecture, things like that, ancient Sumerians. So when you're thinking about things like that, and you go back to ancient mystery schools, alchemy, things like that, it's all really pretty connected. But anyway, this was deemed to be a hoax. However, what is taken away from that is the fact that NASA has control over the site.
Yeah,
So when
that's a
people
big
come
red
to this
flag.
site, it's completely
Yeah.
off limits to people. You're not
It's
allowed
a red
to go
flag
anywhere
when
near it.
NASA's there.
Yes, exactly. And
Yeah.
you are met by a soldier, an armed soldier,
No,
who
here
will
we
turn
go.
you away if you go in there.
Area 51 in the Grand Canyon. They seem
Just
to think
saying.
we're all stupid. I don't know. Like I just am gobsmacked about how often these government entities think we're idiots.
There are just things, again, that are out there that are surfacing. When you think about it, I mean, they have found structures in the northern part of the United States that were Aztec in nature.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, and I mean, if you really, you get into connections with ancient Egypt and Scotland.
Yeah.
Because the daughter of Akhenaten married a Celt because he had Celts in his private guard.
See, history's important here, kids.
Exactly. And she left with her husband when things got crazy with Akhenaten and went to Scotland, and Scotia, her name, Scotland, Scotia, Nova Scotia, New Scotland. Okay. They found her burial site in Ireland, actually, and she was Egyptian. She was an Egyptian princess.
There you go.
And they found her buried next to a pub, actually. But I know.
That's probably a lot of graveyards underneath the pubs, though, when you go that way.
I know. Some of these places are there forever, though. But the fact is, she was pretty much the founder of Scotland. So
there
right
you
there,
go.
You've got a pretty big connection. Red flag, Smithsonian, right? NASA.
They were the first people.
Yes. All of the above.
Yes, all of the above. And yes, Alan, I agree with you.
all good at hiding things. You look at giants, which are literally all over the world. Smithsonian's dumping bones into the ocean.
They don't want you to see them.
No, exactly.
And that's the one place salt water will disintegrate bones.
Yes. And you can look that up as well.
That's why people dump bodies in the ocean. It's not because you'll never find them, because sometimes if you don't weight them, not that I would know that, but if they're not weighted, they would float and go with the tide, right?
Mm-hmm.
A marine biologist would be able to tell you where that thing's floating.
Mm-hmm.
The salt water eats everything.
It does.
And even metal. That's why.
Rusticles. Yeah,
Yes.
the rusticles get the metal.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, to think that the daughter of Akhenaten would be the founder of Scotland is pretty fascinating.
But I think people have to remember that our land masses weren't that far back then. They were pretty much, a lot of them were attached and easy to travel to, because people are like, well, how did they cross the ocean? Well, it wasn't always an ocean there. That's Grand Canyon is a dried up waterbed.
Yes,
yeah. So you have to remember that. Like, keep that in mind when you're thinking, well, how did she get there? Well, at one point, you have to remember they traveled from Jerusalem all the way across.
They had, this is where I think we have a bit of a misconception too as to how people got around, I mean, people coming to North America, we had the land mass overhead, and they would come in that way, and then they would come down. We had Celts in North America, and there's evidence of it.
Yes.
They were there. You look at a Stonehenge, you see different henges all over Europe and all over the ancient world. Well, guess what? They're here also. They're here, so
nobody looked for them because they thought the country was young and they didn't think anything of it.
Well, no, but through time, you have growth, forest canopies grow. I mean, it happened in South America, but then you have the Ice Age. And divers find an intact Stonehenge in Lake Michigan. You guys could Google that, because there is a whole lot of stuff on it, right? Everything, here's a good point from Wayne, everything but leather items because of the arsenic that's present in tanned leather.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There is a lot of stuff. If you really, really look out there, there is so much information to be had. I'll have people say, go come on the show. What do you want to talk about? I don't want to just talk about paranormal. I know lots of stuff. I get tired of talking about paranormal. I like talking about other things.
History.
I've been talking about paranormal for 20 years, man. I know. I'm happy to do it. Don't get me wrong. But
I can watch those documentaries for like hours and not know that the time has passed. I just love getting sucked right in.
There's just so much to learn. I always say we're students, and you should learn something new all the time. And don't get me wrong, I love talking about the paranormal, but after a while, it's just you want to be challenged a little bit when you talk about something so much, So I love it,
and it all fits in, because if you don't understand the past, it's hard to understand the present and the future. Anything hidden or strange is great to talk about. I agree. There had running water in Roman households a long time ago. The Roman aqueducts.
They had concrete that lasted forever and could be in the water.
A Roman road from like gladiator times.
Yes.
Pre-Vatican is still there, but yet our roads are being filled every 6 months. Kathy. Think about it.
Yes, exactly.
Because they want everything fast. But it took, when they say all roads lead to Rome, they actually do. But if you look at how they built those roads and how long it took to build them, they are layered, and the technology.
And they still exist.
They're still there.
In fact, Mark Ollie, who is a repeated guest of ours on the show, we always say now he's just kind of part of the Outer Realm because he's on so much and we love him. Right behind his house up in England, he's got a Roman road that just goes right through the back.
That's where the saying comes from.
I said, how come? Yeah, because they had a big Roman population in England. And he goes, the Roman road just goes running through the side of the property. But,
it goes through Germany. It goes through my brother told me about it when he drove it. He's like, that's the most fascinating thing. He said the houses didn't impress them because when you drive across Europe, they all look the same. But he said the roads, like they're just
wild.
The history of it is just incredible. I would take, not only because I was wearing high heels and I was walking down a hill of cobblestone in Italy, but I would take my shoes off and at the time I didn't realize that I was grounding. I love the feel of the historical cobblestone underneath me on my skin. Like, I really liked that. So I like to walk barefoot there. My grandfather used to make fun of me because my feet were black when I get back, but I just loved it. I felt like I could feel the energy beneath me. It's just so rich and so amazing. I think the simplest things we forget to do when we're traveling.
I don't.
No, I'm saying in general. I think people forget to take their shoes off, or, you know, like, when they say do as the Romans, there's a reason for that. That's the best way to enjoy a country, is to live as they do and really experience it, not as a tourist.
Kathy says you have proof of Templars across the northern part of the USA. You have proof of Templars across a good chunk of the USA and South America. There's quite a bit out there, actually. And you guys should just stay tuned, because I think there's something very exciting coming maybe next year. That's all I can say.
Let's hope so.
That's it. That's all I can say. Yeah, that's it. That's it. So, with that being said, we're slowly encroaching at the top of the hour. So, you guys have questions or something you want to quickly talk about before we?
I agree with Ellen. Grounding is, people think it's a spiritual thing, but it's actually a physical thing.
It is.
You ground to your earth, it's spiritual, but also physical. It's scientifically proven. You're right, Ellen. It's scientifically proven that you're picking up the charges and the nutrients from the soil is the best thing to walk on. But
vibration and frequency.
Yeah. For me, the cobblestone was like, I could feel the history, and because I can see and read things when I touch them. So for me, it just gave me joy. But yeah.
Absolutely. It's a good thing to do. You should do it every day, kids. That's that. So.
I try not to touch old buildings, though. Sometimes it's a bit too much. It's a little too much, seeing a little too much sometimes.
So next week, guys, we're going to have some really great guests coming on. A big treat next week, I think, is going to be a lot of fun. So before I blabber this off, I wanted to spend a little bit of time with it, because there's some really good information to give. And for some reason, I'm just watching a little circle on my, what the heck? Anyway, we have a man called Tony Gauzy coming on. And let me tell you a little bit about him. This is new for us. And when I was messaged, I said, oh my God, I don't think we've ever done anything like this. So Tony Gauzy, you guys are going to love him. He is known as the Antarean Heart. He is a channeler and a spiritual guide. He works through the praying mantis beings and the Antares Stargate to bring messages of unconditional love and integration from interdimensional and extraterrestrial beings. So he has suggested, and we don't usually do this kind of thing, but we may, if he wants to do it. He's going to tell us all about that. And he's thinking of doing some channelings for us through the mantis, like wherever he gets his messages. So it's like, this sounds like it's going to be very fascinating, because I'm very curious about the mantis ever since Thursday night's guest was on. And he's coming back for part 2 of his show, which is Kevin Estrella.
Yes.
And when we started talking about a recording that I had where we got all these clicking in the background, he goes, no, that's a praying mantis that does that. I'm like, what? So it's not a coincidence that I kind of tried to lump them together, because
there's always a method to the madness with Michelle. It's always there on purpose. It's not random.
Exactly.
She puts a lot of work into organizing and booking those shows.
Theming things together when we can. So he's going to tell us about the mantis. Because now I'm curious, because if they are in one of my recordings and within my space, I'm kind of like, now I've got questions.
Yeah.
I've got questions. So that's what Tony's going to talk about. And Kevin, doing part 2 of his 2-part segment that he did, will continue on to talk about other ET visits that he's experienced. telepathy protocols that the Pinty have been teaching him. Here's a big one. Hold on to your hats. The coming Earth level extinction. And if that's not enough, there's going to be more. But I don't want to give it all away.
So if you have nightmares,
right? Yeah, he's got great
Kevin's music. Yes.
So I'm coming on like kind of wondering where we're going to be left by the end of the week.
Wow.
Thank you, Alan.
Nightmares.
Yeah. So
I check into a psych ward on Friday morning. Just saying.
I'm just saying too, like it's
I think I'm going to be on the psych ward. They're going to be like, she's nuts. Put her in a straight jacket.
Well, like I said, they'll be taking us in a fetal position, dragging us off.
But the mantis. They'll be like, lock her up.
But everybody says Preston Dennett, who we know and love, and he's a host here at Dolly Saffron on Monday nights on the Light Gate, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, not Central, so Eastern. And he always has these lighthearted, stories that people give him. And the mantis is like, no, they're great. You shouldn't fear them. In my mind, it's like it's a very big bug.
He's a great messenger. He really is.
And he corrected me because, I shouldn't necessarily. Yes, it is. Technically, we got the little praying mantis is a bug, but
it should be the size of them in Italy.
It just takes me back to like Men in Black with don't call me a bug. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
No,
I'm just kind of like that's something I have to visualize in my space, and I don't know. Comfortable.
We also call them. Aren't they also called maple bugs or something because of the leaf? They look like leaves. Their wings. Well, they come out a lot in the fall here.
And apparently, though, the small praying mantis can be a little bit aggressive.
Yeah, I always feel sorry for them, so I try to move them along with a little light shovel because where they collect on the driveway, they're gonna get run over, right?
Yes, yeah, I just kind of stay out of their way.
Yeah, no, I move them because they don't.
You go first. Right. You could cross first. I'll wait for you, but
no, I know they've been run over a few times by delivery trucks. So, but I got to tell you, the one in Italy, the length of my pencil, you can't see. Like, I ran out of my grandfather's house screaming at the top of my lungs. It's like 5:30 in the morning, knocking because I was staying at my grandfather's upstairs, and those little old houses from the 1800s are all just cement, and my mother couldn't hear me because the walls are like this thick. So I'm knocking on the door, like screaming in my t-shirt and my underwear, like first day in the town. Okay,
right? Yeah.
I'm here, people. I'm here.
Yeah.
And my mother was laughing. She picks it up and lets it out. I'm like, you touched it. Go wash your hands. You touched it. I was freaked out. It was.
So think of something like 5 to 6 inches. Yeah. Human size now.
Right. But I wonder if there's a connection to how big they are there. Are they like little beings?
Maybe it just seemed a lot bigger to you.
I don't know. It was, Michelle, I turned over. I opened my eyes. It was on the damn nightstand. Just like, hello.
Just watching you.
Oh, I was just, I took a deep breath and I moved back and then I just, yeah.
All I'm saying is there's information to be had on the praying mantis. And I think Tony is just the guy to give us a little bit of insight. And I'm for one, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to having Kevin Estrella back on.
Too.
Because now I'm a little bit concerned, talking about this coming Earth level extinction. I'm hoping it's not like next week or anything, and then it's another 10,000 years down the road. But a lot of people do believe, that we are coming into that age. So, that's what I'm saying. It would be interesting to see what the ET or what the Pinty have said to him or other races of beings that he has come into contact with, right? So. Yeah,
I got cat worried. Now I have to be nice to insects.
Ever remember the movie Arachnophobia?
No. I never. Oh.
I know.
You know what's weird? I hate little tiny spiders, but I want to hug a tarantula. Like, I don't know why.
You hug away, and as long as that's as big as they get.
You can do it in Niagara, but it's because they're like little fur puppies, you know? Like,
oh, yeah. I'll tell you, my daughter lives in Australia, and they have those big, giant spiders in bloody Australia.
No, those look like crabs, though. But they're huge.
She called me. She goes, "You need to send me one of those big, those tennis rackets." Yes, because they don't have those in Australia.
No, you need a tennis racket.
So I sent her one of those. Well, it's like a tennis racket, but you put batteries in it and goes. It just stuns them because they're so big. No, I said you have to tie it on the end of a broom. Oh. She said they're as big as your head over there, bigger.
But they don't have anything there to. I've seen them like on walls. They're like almost 3 feet wide. They're
crabs. Jesus.
Coconut crabs are gross. And when they're mating, they literally block the road
because they walk show, across. Amelia.
No, but I'm saying, like, I watch National Geographic, okay? So I'm like, fast forward.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah. There's just some things, man. Yeah. Anyway, with that being said, we're going to leave it at the mating coconut crabs.
Oh, my God.
And it's been a lot of fun, guys. We love doing these. We will have another one at the end of the month. Usually I'll swap them out. And I thought, you know what? Heck no. We just have so much fun doing these with you guys. And we're just going to keep the other one as well. So I love it. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in to our open mic and participating. And we always have so much fun with you. Big thank you to Folgers Coffee for their continued support. We just appreciate you so much. Big thank you to Justin Snicker. Big thank you to Steve McGinnis. We appreciate you all so very much. So have a great weekend. And thank you guys. Thank you.
We love you guys
back. We do.
Yeah.
See, I just can't even say goodnight. Let's just keep us going. But anyway,
we gave Kat nightmares. Sorry, honey. We love you.
Have a great weekend, guys, and we will see you all next week. All right.